All right, so I wanted to check this out. I thought this was pretty cool, although a lot of people were turning it into this like big achievement. I don't know. I'm mixed about it. So, Knock Loose was on Jimmy Kimmel recently, and I kind of talked about it on the one of the last like two episodes of Drag the Lake ago, where it really annoys me where like I'm not trying to like rain on anyone's parade. It is cool. You know what I mean? You see a hardcore band, which I got into it with a guy online. Knock Loose is a hardcore band. They lean metalcore and shit like that. But and they'll even say, I know this is very I know people are going to say, "Well, Knock Loose says they're metalcore." That's fine. But song structure wise, they hit all the hardcore components. Now in presentation and if you look at them in presentation and sort of with certain writing techniques and shit, it does lean more metalcore. But at its core, let's be real, Knock Loose is a hardcore band. And that honestly makes this whole moment even more fun and better for a lot of the people. Or at least it should make it more fun and a lot better for a lot of the people who are getting all hyped up over Knock Loose being on Jimmy Kimmel. But yeah, the thing I was getting annoyed by is I'm not trying to like rain on anyone's parade and be like, this is stupid, you shouldn't care about this. No, it's fun. I think it's really cool that there's like super high quality video of Knock Loose, and there is just something funny about the fact that like Jimmy Kimmel is saying what's the album called? You Won't Go Before You're Supposed to by Knocked Loose, and then they start playing, and then Poppy comes out, she screams, and then fucking Brian and Knock Loose does the pig squeals and shit like that. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's cool. It's fun. But it's like the way people were just turning it into this over-the-top magical experience. It was very depressing to me because my big problem with moments like this is it's not that it happens. It's the validation that people feel that it's like, finally, Jimmy Kimmel, the show, and nothing personal to Jimmy Kimmel. It's just one of the worst shows on TV. And let's be perfectly honest too. It is like, it's goddamn like government propaganda half the time where it's just like, I feel like there's a new political thing and the government calls Jimmy Kimmel up. They're like, hey, can you cry about this real quick? We need a bunch of people to get on board with this new fucking thing. Like that. So that's like what it is. It's like, and then like, but even outside of that, like who the fuck watches Jimmy Kimmel? Who the fuck watches it? It's not like the numbers are not real. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever met someone who's like, oh, did you see Jimmy Kimmel last night? No, that's not a person. They don't, it's literally people who stumble upon their fucking YouTube videos. And they were like, whoa, could you believe that Ariana Grande and Jimmy Kimmel fucking ate empanadas? And like people will be like, wow, that's crazy. They're just like normal people. You know what I mean? It's like shit like that. And then on top of that, all the people who are big up Jimmy, like, thank you, Jimmy Kimmel, for bringing Knock Loose on your show and finally validating him. Like, that's the part that fucking irks me. It's like when people get mad that the Grammys snub whatever band they like. And it's like, dude, do you know who the Grammy... First off, you have to pay to get into them. You have to do your 4-year consideration. And then the panel, I know it's a lot of your peers, but also, I don't know. I always, when it comes to the Grammys and shit, I always make this analogy. I always go like, you guys remember they picked Macklemore over Kendrick when Kendrick had New Kid, Mad City out. So... just remember that and to be like, oh, they're not good at this. And it's like the same thing with Jimmy Kimmel. Just remember, it's like, oh, he's not good at like being an entertainer. He's not good at being an unbiased person. It's just like the show's really bad. And oh yeah. And then I saw all the other people. Who, first off, that whole Facebook thing, I don't think that's real. And if it is real, like, I'm not saying they like made up the message, like it's fake accounts, but like I saw all these people really choose the narrative they want and then find the stuff to fill it in. Cause it's like, I saw that whole thing. If people don't know, basically, they're acting like there's this campaign of like Knock Loose should issue an apology because people got offended on watching Jimmy Kimmel. And it's like, no, there's a couple Facebook comments. Like, that's a weird thing people do in people do in articles and stuff now. They'll just find like 4 shitty comments and they'll be like, this is what people are saying. It's like, that's what those people are saying. And also it's Facebook. I don't know if anyone on Facebook likes Knock Loose. Like, they're not. Facebook isn't the place to go to be like, hey, do you guys like Knock Loose over here? And it's just going to be a bunch of fucking Midwest grandmas going like, I'll fucking shoot you right now. You know what I mean? It's like, what are we talking about? Oh, did Jimmy Kimmel's Facebook page get a bad comment about Knock Loose? Like, just hear that sentence. Does that sentence not sound fucking insane? So it's like, what are we even worrying about that? Who gives a shit? Who gives? It's not a real story. You know what I mean? But everyone just like, they don't think. You just like, you'd think enough of these people were smart enough that they would see Knock Loose Facebook Jimmy Kimmel people angry and go, oh, that's actually nothing. That's not anything relevant. Like, that's my point. It's not relevant. It's like the comparison where people would argue why, and this is good, decent timing, actually. This is why it's in my head. But all the people would argue like, oh, you know, everyone would get deep into the Hunter Biden investigation. They'll be like, that's not relevant. It's just they would center it around like, well, this is just about a guy's drug addiction. It's not relevant to actual news. And it's like, well, you know, what was it? Burisma or whatever the fucking company was. It's like he was getting a job in Ukraine and the guy can't speak Ukrainian. And it's clear it seems very clear he got the job because he was the president's kid and shit like that. And then also too, you know, there's rumors that there's fucking insane illegal shit on Hunter Biden's laptop and he's the president's kid. So yeah, it's all newsworthy. What are you talking about? It's like, you know, so I make that analogy to say like, yeah, Facebook comments about Knock Loose on Jimmy Kimmel are not relevant. Who's fucking posting that like it's relevant news? Who gives a fucking shit? You know what I mean? Like you could see all these numbers. Like someone posted something a couple days ago where they were like, Knock Loose in like 3 days had 500,000 views, and there was like some videos up for a couple weeks that had maybe 10,000 and shit like that. And it's like you see all these numbers. Like people don't put. I mean, I think the way the internet is right now, it's taken away people's ability to sort of feel the levels of different critiques and shit like that, because every tweet, it's just a paragraph or a sentence or whatever the fuck. It's just presented as this. Here's the info. You know, or all the articles are just like, here's the info. And it's like, you're not able to take the weight of the whole situation. So when you see a comment like, dude, every time I say it, it makes me laugh. Bad comments on Facebook about Knock Loose on the Jimmy Kimmel show. You're just like, and then you go back to it's like, look at the video, 1 million views in 5 days. Clearly that's just, you know, an irrelevant, but it is also music fans' fault, because I've seen it a lot of times with all the clips I post with different shit with music on social media and stuff. And music like I saw it with a lot of my album reviews, where I'm a little, or album reviews or music video reactions on the DTL R&R channel. You see a lot of people, they say this thing a lot where they're like, well, if you don't like it, why do you got to talk about it? Where you're just like, what are we doing? What are you talking about? It's YouTube. It's the internet. This is where we have opinions on shit. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Yeah, it's like, also, that's half of making art. That's the other part that irritates me. And don't get me wrong. I think everyone should have level-headed, thought-out critiques and shit like that. But, like, that's still half the shit. You make something, and then people discuss it. So, what, like, just, you know what I mean? Music fans have a real hard time with people not liking their shit, because they have such an emotional connection to that shit. And, they feel like they're a part of it, which you're not, but, you're not, but also your emotional experience is valid. And it's like, just because someone criticizes it, that's not going to take that experience away from you. So I politely say, chill the fuck out. Just chill out. It's not that big of a deal because someone didn't like the thing you liked. But yeah, so music fans also have a real problem with sort of tempering their emotions on things. they see it because it means so much to them, and that's completely fair, and that's, you know, a fun way to experience it. It means so much to them. It means so much to them, so they're gonna have a big response. But also at the same time, like I saw it with like the My Chemical Romance fans recently with the Bob dude who passed away. You know, not a chill dude in their minds and shit like that. And you know, and said a lot of like fucked up, cringy things online. But you know, it gets to a point where it's like now they're just like openly praising his death, and it's like, yeah, I think you guys have gone a little bit too far down that path. I think you're a little bit fucking insane. But anyway, I get a little bit sidetracked. But yeah, my whole thing with the Knock Loose thing, and I'm going to watch it in a second, and I saw clips from it, and it was cool. It was very cool to watch. It's just the sense of validation that everyone felt was upsetting to me. It really bummed me out because it's like, yeah, no, it's not, you know, it's because what? Oh, Jimmy Kimmel and the fucking Grammys finally caught up, and they're like actually recognizing. It's more of a sign that their fucking structure's crumbling. You know what I mean? It's more of a sign that their power's going away because it's like, you know, it's like, yeah, no, we figured it out on our own. Not we, but like bands like Knock Loose and shit figured it out on their own. And your whole thing is not working anymore, so you have to adjust to this. So it really shouldn't be viewed as a validating. Well, the validation should come in the fact that Knock Loose stayed true, and Jimmy Kimmel, it's honestly more so people like Jimmy Kimmel and the Grammys coming to Knock Loose because they've sort of ruined their credibility. And now they're looking to... You know, now they're looking to get some more credibility back. Like they're forced to bring on actually good bands and shit. So it's really not, because also too, like if we look at these clips, like that's the other thing. A lot of people were saying, this was the other thing I said that, this was the other thing that I said, or I saw that, yeah, this is the other thing that I kept seeing that made me sort of like roll my eyes, where if we look at a lot of these videos and a lot of these views, like, you know, first off, Jimmy Kimmel only gets, he only gets like a shit ton of views when he's talking about fucking Trump or shit like that, which is ironic. And I bet you if I clicked on the videos, it would be a bunch of shit. But yeah, it's like we look at these other, dude, Anderson Anderson .Paak, who's a huge artist. He's getting 15,000 views. Nate Smith. I know the song Bulletproof, but no, a girl sings the one I'm thinking of, so it's probably not him. You know, you got Nate Smith with 10K. And, you know, there's some, like, but that's Denzel Washington and shit like that. And, you know, whoever this lady is, 76K. Red Clay Strays, 22K. And I'm trying to, when did Knock Loose happen? But regardless, it's like, then you go to like Knock Loose. I mean, you see a lot of these clips and it's like, it's not that fucking, well, some of them are pretty good. But yeah, once again, it's like the topical shit where they're talking about Trump and shit like that. Those are the ones that do good. And there's a couple who do fine, but in the context of Knock Loose, like Knock Loose is doing better. But I'm just trying to, oh, we have another, I mean, honestly too, if we look at musical performances, whoever this lady is only has 23K. So the point I'm trying to make as well is that it's not like I'm just trying to heighten the point of the fact that like it's not really in this moment. It's not really Jimmy Kimmel that's helping Knock Loose. Knock Loose is helping Jimmy Kimmel. Because they got, their song Suffocate with Poppy got 1 million views in 5 days. I just showed you a shit ton of videos that have been up for as long or longer that barely broke, that like didn't even hit 50K. Some, like most of them didn't even hit 30K. So in the context of music, you know, people were seeing, you know, people were saying like, I'm just imagining that kid who's staying up late to watch Jimmy Kimmel and he sees Knock Loose and he's like, what is this? And you're like, well, that's maybe one kid. Like, it's like, just when you say that sentence, who are you talking about? Oh, you know, the young kids who stay up late to watch Jimmy Kimmel, to watch Boomer rants about Trump and then the most milquetoast jokes you've ever fucking seen. Yeah, no, I mean, like, that kid can go on fucking TikTok and watch shit that's 1,000% more wild over there. This, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, this world you're all happy about that Knock Loose, that Knock Loose is in, doesn't exist. Knock Loose is getting 1 million views in 5 days. No other artist is doing that on Jimmy Kimmel's page. So that's Knock Loose helping Jimmy Kimmel. You know what I mean? It's all shit like that. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy Kimmel's, well, I don't know. I guess he's relevant, but it also just feels artificial. I'm just saying, like, let me just go back to the point, because I feel like I've been all over the place. Let me just go back to my original point, and that is basically that this is cool. Don't get it twisted. It's funny. Like, I want to see Knock Loose on the red carpet for the Grammys. That would be funny. That would be interesting. This is funny. This is interesting. But this is not, oh, Jimmy Kimmel is validating Knock Loose. Knock Loose is validating themselves. You know what I mean? I've just stopped giving credit to Jimmy Kimmel. He doesn't deserve it. His show's shit. He hasn't helped. He's not a benefit. Like, his show's not a benefit to society. None of this shit. So stop giving him all the fucking credit. He doesn't deserve it. Anyway,